Tell me what you think about the issues of the world. What kind of spice you wanna be? Tell me where you wanna travel. Do you believe in luxury? What's your hidden passion? What makes you so unique? Conversations with Nicole. Conversations with Nicole. Conversations with Nicole. Conversations with Nicole.
Good evening. Happy Monday. I am Nicole Everett, the host of Conversations with Nicole, a talk show based here in Tallahassee, Florida, focused on connecting the community through conversations. It is Wednesday, September 9th, and it's what I call What Women Want Wednesday. What Women Want Wednesday. This is an opportunity for us to have a conversation. This is an interactive live. And so I ask that you interact with me and my guests, and I have a special guest tonight, as always. But before we get started, I want to know where you all are tuning in from. Where you all are tuning in from. So just in the comments, post your city and state, and that way we can give you a shout out. So tonight's live is going to be a little bit different from normal. Normally I have some topics, but tonight we're going to do a free flow, right? A free flow, just however we feel, and we're going to talk about it. Almost like ask me what you want, ask me anything you want to, but it's going to be me and TT. So I just gave it away. Adrianne Bate. She is also known as TT, and she does TT Talks. She is my special guest tonight. She and I met for a meetup. It's probably been about a year and a half ago now, and I was just so amazed with all of the things that she is doing. I admire her from afar, but I'm so glad that we are having this opportunity to come together and have a conversation. So join me in welcoming Miss TT.
Hey. Thank you so much for the invite. I appreciate it so much.
My pleasure, my absolute pleasure. I am so delighted to have you here today.
Glad to be here.
Yes. So tell the folks who don't know you where you're from, what you do, which
Oh,
is
man.
a whole list of what you do, but just give us the short list
Oh, man.
and
I,
who you are. Who do you say you are?
yes. Oh, okay. Good evening, everybody. I am, my birth name is Adrianne Bate. I was born in Tallahassee, Florida. I was raised in Tampa, Florida, but I've been back in Tallahassee for about 20 years now. So it's home again. I am a physical therapist. I'm a massage therapist. I'm a doula. I'm a producer of various forms. I have a podcast called TT Talks. TT is a nickname of mine. I have many names, but TT is a name that I hold dear. It's what the children in the community call me because I'm like auntie. So my friends just rolled with it, so I roll with it too. I love it. It's an endearing, touching name. So I've kind of built a brand around just that young auntie swag. Um, and so yeah, I produce podcasts. I produce content for myself and others. I do some video editing work. I DJ some. You see my records back there. So I do all kinds of things, photography, and I'm just very much into technology and digital media and science and healing arts and things like that. I moonlight as a professor sometimes at FAMU, teaching in the School of Allied Health Science. So yeah, that's kind of the short list. There's other things, but that's the short list.
That's a short list. All right. And who is TT? Who is Adrianne?
Man, I'm so many things, but at my very core, I'm just a cool chick.
Okay.
I'm just cool, laid back. I enjoy people. I enjoy talking to people, So it's cool that, you have TT Talks and you have Conversations with Nicole. You have two women who just enjoy people and
Absolutely.
enjoy talking and hashing out those topics, you know.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So we got a few folks that are chiming in. We
Hey,
got
hey.
Jay saying welcome. We got Blue Lotus saying hey.
Oh,
Yes,
Kamadi.
yes, she was on a couple of months ago actually.
Oh, okay. I love it.
We did
She's been a TT Talks guest as well,
okay,
for
awesome. Yeah,
sure.
we did something on Minority Mental Health Awareness Month.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and then we have
Ooh.
Mr. Guest.
Oh, drone
So,
pilot now. Brother
yes,
GT, yes.
all right. So he's just making sure that you add that to your list of
I
accolades.
appreciate that.
Yeah,
Hold me accountable. I love it. I'm also a drone pilot now. So
congratulations.
thank you. Thank you. I'm excited
Yes,
about that.
yes. I think you may be the only black female drone pilot that I know.
Really? Okay.
Mhm.
I'd like to meet some more, but you know, I'm cool with holding it down until I meet some more.
Yes, 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 yes. All right, so we got Brenda on here. Hey, Brenda.
Sister Brenda, how are you?
Yes, Dr. Nika Fields is in the house. We got Von Zell. Deshaun, thank you for being here. Oh, and Janae noticed. Love your pins, TT.
Oh, thank you so much.
So,
I'm glad that you love them. I'm actually creating some more right now, but I appreciate you for supporting that.
so for those of you who don't know, I'm rocking my TT pin tonight. If you can see in the camera,
Yeah.
yes, that's one of them. And the other one, it says, "Doing the most. I didn't come here to do the least." I love it. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. I love it. So cool. So let's dive in. Let's dive in. So, how long you been doing the podcast?
We're coming up on year 4. We're coming up
Oh,
on year 4 in November. I started in 2016.
uh-huh.
I didn't even know. Right prior to that, I didn't even know what it was. I didn't know what a podcast was. Hey, Papa Pope. I
Uh-huh.
don't like the term stepdad, but for all intents and purpose, he's my stepdad. He's married to my mother, but
Yes.
stepdad is so informal.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, podcasting, I got into it before that. I was a producer, or still am a producer, so people would come to my house to record their demos or do some, you know, some type of voiceover work of some type.
Mhm.
And I would always keep the mics hot because we would always have the funniest conversations in between whatever work they were doing. Before I even knew what a podcast was, I would just keep the mics hot and I would keep conversations. I still have conversations from 10 years ago that are,
Wow.
I got to figure out how I'm going to repurpose it because it's just too good to not, you know.
I understand.
But somebody told me about what a podcast was, and I was like, you know what? I got the equipment to do that. So I made a post on Facebook and I said, if I did a podcast, would y'all listen to it? Whole post just went crazy. Yeah, of course. Da, 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 da. So literally a few days after that, I recorded my pilot episode and been rolling ever since.
Awesome.
Been rolling ever since.
Awesome. Awesome. So, what's the experience been like for you?
It's fulfilling and it's demanding.
Mhm.
You know, it's both. But I enjoy it because it gives me a creative outlet. You know, it gives me a way to kind of, you know, let off steam. You know, I work in healthcare and that can be stressful.
Yeah.
And so it's just nice to do something that's kind of chill and relaxed, and I get to meet new people. I get to interview interesting people, and I get to introduce my audience to what people are doing amazing things. You know, we hear so much about what we're not doing as a people and as a community. And I was really just more inclined to focus on what people actually are doing and how people are actually, you know, sparking change. And so that was kind of the basis of that. And then it kind of evolved into a brand and a business because, you know, what people started to hear the podcast, they were like, hey, well, can you help me do this? Can you help me do that? So I kind of consult with people about how they want to get their branding and their podcast together.
Okay.
So, you know, it's kind of it's constantly evolving. I'm sure TT Talks will look different 5 years from now than it does today. You know, I wouldn't be surprised by that at all. You know, now I'm going to be adding aerial photography and videography to the,
Right.
I'm constantly just trying to, you know, add new things all the time.
Just got all the skills, huh?
The skills is what pays the bills, Sister
The
Nicole.
skills pay the bills. I love it. Yes, they do.
The skills pay the bills.
Yes, yes. And you are like a Renaissance woman. I tell you, you just dabble in a little of everything. So I appreciate that. You
I
know,
I
I think
thank
you
you.
have to be well rounded. So,
Indeed.
mm,
We're in the age where it puts you at a huge disadvantage if you're just singular fashioned, if you're singular faceted.
yeah.
And it really behooves us to kind of develop our interests, not necessarily because all of your skills just have to be a hustle,
Mm-hmm.
but just so that you can really flex your muscles as a whole and complete human being,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Agreed. Agreed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You never know when you're gonna have to use some of those skills. So,
Hello?
yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, yes, that's so true. And they pop up at the strangest times. I
Indeed.
was doing some content in Nigeria one time, and one of the elder women in the community hurt her neck. So next thing I know, I'm doing physical therapy
Mm-hmm.
and massage therapy stuff, like she pulled a muscle or something like that, in the
Mm-hmm.
middle of me trying to do some other content.
Right.
Stuff just jumps out,
Yeah.
from something else. So it's very unique. I have a very interesting, unique life. I'm able to kind of move around. Not so much now as far as moving around the world, but as far
Right.
as like traveling. And I'm excited to get back into that. When the time is right and things open up a little bit, and people ain't banning you Americans
Right. 'Cause
for our shenanigans.
y'all don't know how to behave. Look.
Hello, listen. I've been to the house for 5 months
You're right. Don't want
faithfully.
yeah, no, that's good. That's good. That's good. So tell folks like, in terms of your podcast, who are some of the guests that you've had and what are some of the things that you've covered?
Oh man, I'm really I did a post about this recently. I'm really proud of my guest list. My guest list is just powerful, dynamic, really wonderful, amazing black folks who are doing fabulous things. My last guest was Brother Diallo Sumbri, who is the tourism ambassador for Ghana. He's the first African American tourism for Ghana, and he was very instrumental in the Back to Africa Year of Return
Mm-hmm.
campaign that happened with Ghana. He's very instrumental in that. He also just dropped this the other day that he's a part of Ghana building a Pan African museum.
Mm.
He also has a business called the Adinkra Group in DC, which is kind of like a cultural business. So anything that you need involving West African, culture and tradition, whether it's dance, whether it's percussion drumming, whether it's classes, language classes, whether it's traveling to Ghana. He organizes trips through his company as well. They're from DC, so he took a go-go band to
Oh,
the
wow.
slave dungeons out and filmed a documentary around it. Like
Wow.
really amazing, dynamic guy. And he was a guest on my last show. This was actually his second time on the show.
Okay.
He just kind of was filling me in. He had just come back to the States from Ghana. He was kind of stuck in Ghana a little bit because all the borders everywhere were shut down, because he kind of swings his time in between Ghana and in the U.S.
Right.
And he had just come back from D.C., so I wanted to catch up with him and see everything that was going on. He's building a health resort
Mm-hmm.
there right now, and getting into the cocoa business in Ghana as well. So he just had a lot of really cool things. And Black is King is dropped, and which was kind of a Pan African piece of content from Beyonce. So he and I talked a little bit about that, and then segued into his own personal Pan African projects that he's working on. So that was my last guest. I've had authors and documentarians. I've had artists of all kind. I've had scientists and engineers come on and talk about. Dr. Ashe Gun Henry came on and did a
Okay.
great talk about green energy, clean energy, his research, and a lot of the beautiful climate, global warming mitigating, research that he's doing right now.
Right.
But it's also very relaxed. Like it doesn't have to be serious.
Okay. Have
You
you had
know.
this sister on before?
Say that again.
Have you had this sister on before? The one whose comment is up right now.
Yes, she has been on my sister Gian Jones. She's also been a TT Talks guest for sure. She's one of my best friends actually. So I'm happy to see her in her face in the place.
Yes, yes. Hey, Gian. Gian was on a couple of months ago as well.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Awesome. Awesome. Awesome.
cool, cool. So, has there been someone that you tried to get on the show that you hadn't gotten yet, or that you want to have as a guest?
Um, there was somebody that I wanted to have on the show, but wasn't able to. There was, she was in the middle of some global negotiations for things, and she just wanted to keep everything cool and clean.
Okay.
I think our brands just may not have meshed, and I didn't take it personally. It's business. I get it. Um, and I wish all the best for the sister for sure.
Right.
But I'm trying to think. I mean, there's always somebody that I want on the show. There's famous people, like celebrity, who I'd love to have on the show. And I feel like at some point they probably would be. But
Yeah.
I actually like to talk to the round-the-way folks. They can oftentimes are a lot more magical and have a lot more, interesting things to say. But,
They are
if
so magical. I love the way you
listen,
said that.
yeah, if you
Yeah.
if you got some skills to pay the bills, and you have some charisma about you, and you have an interesting story, I'd love to have folks on. But I usually like to reach out from me to people. It's kind of strange when people come to me, because I kind of energetically move. So when people be like, "Hey, I want to get on the show," it's like, "Whoa, hold on, let me see how I can weave this energy in." Because it's almost like, when you're DJing
Mm-hmm.
and somebody wants a song request. You know what I'm saying? But the song that they want doesn't really match the vibe that the rest of the space is in right now. And
I
it's,
love that analogy.
you know
Yes.
what I mean? And it's like, you don't want to say no, but it's like, but I can't right now. You trying to listen to Busta Rhymes. I'm playing Patti LaBelle right now. We can't
Right,
play Busta Rhymes right now.
right, right, right. Just don't go with the flow.
Right, right, right.
Yeah, yeah,
Hey, Ebonita.
yes. So we got folks shouting you out. So cool. Thanks for being on. So let's transition to some of your other activities. So I
Yeah.
know, you're in healthcare, massage therapy, physical
Mm-hmm.
therapy, doula.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me about that road in terms of, that being your choice to go into that field, those fields, the healthcare field.
Well, both my parents are in healthcare. Both my parents are pharmacists.
Okay.
They're both graduates of FAMU School of Pharmacy.
Okay.
And so I was kind of surrounded by just that healthcare world. I knew I didn't want to be a pharmacist, though. It was interesting, but it just wasn't interesting enough for me to want to make it a career.
Mm-hmm.
But I wanted to do something in healthcare because I'm interested in just the body in general. I'm intrigued. I like to help people.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom somehow got me into a summer program at University of South Florida when I was going from middle school into high school. And it was basically a school for a program for girls who were good in science. And in that program, I got to stay on campus for a couple of weeks, and I got to shadow a professional woman. And they had a sign up list, and there was all kind of women that you could follow. There was architects, there was engineers and pediatricians. And I was like, I don't want to do that. Way down at the bottom, it was physical therapy. And I was like, this looks interesting because, I particularly at that time was really into sports.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, yeah, let's see what that is. So I shadowed a physical therapist during my time in the program, had a ball, was
Okay.
very excited about it. My parents wanted me to go to FAMU for sure because they're both
Mm-hmm.
graduates. My grandfather was actually a professor there for years.
Mm-hmm.
And I found out that FAMU had a program. So I was like, okay, that's what I wanted to do. And from that point on, that's how it went. And then not too long after I became a physical therapist, maybe a year or two later, I went to massage school at night. I would go to work at the hospital doing physical therapy during the day, and then I would leave and do massage at night. That took about a year.
Okay.
And I've been a massage therapist now for 10 years, coming up on 11 years now, maybe.
Wow.
And then not too long after that, I went and trained to be a doula. And, actually, if I continue to kind of take this trajectory, I would not be surprised if I went to midwifery school at some point, maybe in the next 5 to 10 years and become a midwife
Okay.
and just deliver babies till I die,
Okay.
because I've always been very intrigued and interested by that. I probably, had I known about, you know, being able to like deliver babies as a midwife earlier in life, I wouldn't be surprised if I would have done that
Mm.
just as a primary career choice, just because I'm
I-
interested in a pregnant woman, babies. I'm a physical therapist in the NICU quite often, so a lot of my patients are premature babies. A lot of my patients are under 2 pounds, under
Wow.
3 pounds. They're little, little, little,
Yes,
little.
yes, yes. How do
So,
how do you know have therapy on a under 2 pound baby? I can't even
well,
imagine that.
sometimes things happen. Sometimes there's birth injuries. Sometimes there's brain injuries that happen as a result of the birth. Um, you know, sometimes they're born with deformities in their limbs. Maybe they have a club foot, or
Mhm.
maybe they have. I had a baby not too long ago who, in the course of delivery, his clavicle broke.
Oh wow.
So because they're so tiny, you have to kind of make little splints for them, because it's not like you can, go
Oh
purchase a little. Got to
right.
make little stuff for them. Sometimes they've had brain bleeds, and so there's one part of their body that's weak, and you have to, help them develop it, help them be able to meet their milestones, so they're not too far behind.
Wow.
From a motor skill standpoint, I did a
That's
lot
some
of work with
very
special needs
special care.
children.
Yeah, that's some very special care right there.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I love the kids. TT all about the churn.
Now, I know you don't have any children
Mm-hmm.
of your
Mm-hmm.
own, but do
Mm-mm.
you want to have some children one day?
Absolutely. I have absolutely always, always wanted to have children. Whenever they daddy show up, hey, let's get it going. I just ain't found a daddy yet. Nothing I can do about that. That is a two partner engagement. I
Hmm.
mean, you can go to the bank to do that, but I don't really want to do
Right,
that.
right, right, right.
I don't
Yeah,
really want to do that.
yeah.
I want, listen, if I'm gonna have some children, we gonna do it the old fashioned way. You know what I'm saying?
I understand. Yeah.
But I look forward to it. I'd love to generate. I want to be able to generate enough capital for me to just have a big old house in the country and have
Mhm.
my own kids, adopt children, take in children with medical special needs, and foster them, and until they're able to get into a stable environment. Like I'd love to do things like that.
Love it, love it, love it. Yeah, I could see you doing that. I
I'd
really,
love to,
yeah, I could see you doing that.
and I feel like I will do it.
Hmm. Now, I was reading because I think I told you I Googled you before you came on, but
Yeah,
food grower was on the list of things that
yeah,
you, is one of your skills
yeah.
with the Z. So tell me about that because I'm a avid gardener.
Yeah. Well, I like to grow things. My grandfather was a professor at FAMU for a
Hmm.
number of years, but he taught in the agriculture department.
Okay.
So he was always growing things. I just rarely, he was growing everything from corn to muscadine grapes
Right.
to tomatoes and peppers. He always was growing something. My other grandparents, they had a farm. So they always grew things,
Mhm.
field peas and squash. And, there was always something that was growing. They would even grow muscadine grapes too.
Okay.
So, and my mom, she has a green thumb. She was always growing things. So I was just around people who grew plants and grew food all the time. And I got into it as an adult, and it became very therapeutic for me.
Mhm.
It's very therapeutic. You get out there, you get in the dirt, you get to kind of work. I get my little radio going, and
Mhm.
I can just get into a zone. I
Yes.
get my music playing and just get out there and just get to work, and sweat, being physical outdoors, and then seeing something like, I'm even amazed by like sunflowers, this little old itty bitty seed, and then 8 weeks later it's 10 feet tall. That is amazing to
It
me,
is.
you
It
know,
is. It is. Yeah.
amazing to me. And I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to grow this fall. Maybe I'll put some collard greens down or something like that. I have some sweet
Okay.
potatoes back there
Okay.
right now that may be ready soon as the weather cools down a little bit.
Mhm.
So I planted those maybe in maybe June.
Okay.
So they should be getting close to being ready now.
Gotcha. I was gonna ask you what you had growing currently.
Right now, not a whole lot because I'm kind of on the end of the growing season for everything. And at the very end, I kind of had kind of bit of a fungus that kind of took some stuff out. But I still have some potatoes and sweet potatoes out there that'll be doing some things. And I have some pigeon peas. I have a pigeon pea
What?
plant. Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness. Okay, we need to do
Yeah.
some watering because I love pigeon peas.
Yeah. I found some at the nursery, and I was just like, let me see how this goes because I know they're not gonna like the cold weather, but while it's
Right.
hot, let's see what's going on. So I got that going on. Black eyed peas did very well this year.
Okay. Nice.
Um, I don't know, my tomatoes didn't do as well as normal. Same with my cucumbers; they didn't do as well either.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's all about. That's what gardening is. It's trial and error.
It is truly.
People think I'm all this green thumb. I'll be like, man, I done killed most stuff that I grew, but whatever.
Right.
Ain't no
Yeah.
shame in my game. I tell you right now, I kill a whole lot of stuff.
Uh-huh. Yeah, no, that happens for sure. I know I have not had the best luck with seeds. I've done better with seedlings, but
Hmm.
it's hit or miss. So you just
Yeah, that's what it's
plant
all
it,
about.
plant it, water it, give it some sunshine, pray that
Hmm.
the bees come in the spring and the summer.
That's why I put the sunflowers out there.
Hmm.
That brings the bees for sure.
Yep, yep, for sure. So let's talk about the media production. I know we talked about the show, but
Hmm.
music, video production, photography,
Yeah.
about some of those experiences.
It started out with just a really great love of music and a really great love of photography.
Hmm.
I've always really been into music. Stealing my parents' vinyl and CDs all the time as a kid,
Okay.
and then it just evolved as the technology evolved. And it's I love photography. I have pictures that I took when I was in elementary school in little shoe boxes. Still, I remember maybe my 10th birthday, I got a little point and shoot camera for my
Uh-huh.
birthday from a friend, and my mom bought me some film. And I just was in love with it ever since. I would just be excited to go take my little film to the corner drugstore and
Right.
and get it developed. And I just was always fascinated by the process. And as I got older and you could buy your own stuff and the technology advanced, I just would just kind of freelance, and because I was traveling a lot, it gave me a lot of opportunity to take a lot of shots and really, develop my skills in that way. And then, my mother just happened to marry a professional photographer. And
Hmm.
so he always was just very given with information on, what he gave me some information the other day, on a lens I need to get, for a new camera that I just bought. He
Okay.
always was giving me gems on things to do, how to shoot things, how to process it in post production and things like that. And I always listen. He may not know if I was listening or not, but I always listen.
Hmm.
And,
As it relates to music, let me ask you, what did you grow up listening to? I guess around the house, if you said you would listen
everything,
everything. Okay.
everything, I was a band nerd. I was in a band in the orchestra coming up.
Really?
I was in a band. I was in the orchestra. I was in gospel choir.
Okay.
So I was in music. I was involved in. I was in a handbell choir in elementary school. I was always in something musical, and I always listen to music. And when I say I listen to everything from movie scores to I love Bach and Chopin. I
Oh,
love classic soul. I'm a huge
okay.
disco fan. I love hip hop
Uh-huh.
and R&B. I love heavy metal. I
Okay.
love country music. I love music, period. I
I
listen to everything. Ain't no telling what you're going to hear when you come in my house.
got you. Got
You may
you.
be hearing into some, Sergio Mendez, Brazilian bossa nova 1 minute, and then the next minute it may be DMX.
Okay.
You never know.
So let me ask you this: can you go a day without listening to music?
Mm, I can, but I'm usually doing something else creative, and
Okay.
it's very rare. That's
Uh-huh.
a rare thing. I usually wake up listening to music. I usually go to bed listening to music.
Mhm.
I listen to music. I get in trouble at work sometimes because I'm listening to music. Like I have headphones on, while I'm trying to do work
Uh-huh.
and stuff, and my boss be like, "Girl, you can't be on there with your headphones." I'm like, my bad, I'm sorry. But this is kind of the jam, so can I just finish this song? Okay, great. Uh, but it's always been a big part of me. I used to throw house parties. I know people are mad at me because they've been begging me to throw a house party again. But
Really?
I used to throw these banging house parties, and the music used to always just be great. I used to have the whole house rocking. The police usually was involved. They would usually come.
You invited them to the house party?
Yeah, because you got to have the speakers. You got to make it
Right,
rock.
right, right,
And I was
right.
probably disturbing the peace a little bit, but
Uh-huh.
I'm all about the vibes and having a good time. So,
Nice,
yeah, music has just always been a huge part
nice.
of me.
Okay. So is there anything on your playlist or in your rotation that you listen to currently?
Yeah, it is. I did an end of summer mix. If you go on my SoundCloud, I did an end of summer mix of some of the things that have been in heavy rotation for me right now. And it's mostly kind of underground artists. There's a few, I think on the whole mix there may be 3 people who are well known,
Okay.
and then outside of that everybody else is just underground, because there's so much good music being played. Everybody's always talking about all the radio and all the music, and I was like, man, that's y'all are lazy,
Yeah.
because there is wonderful music constantly being made all the time. Good music with good messages, that still is cool and not corny. It's good.
So do you think that we get more creativity in the midst of crisis?
Of course.
Hmm.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
Absolutely. I said something it probably was inappropriate, but I was just like, I don't want to hear a Marvin Gaye song if cocaine wasn't involved. You know, I don't want to hear a Mary album about, how her relationship is going well.
Uh-huh.
And I shouldn't say those things because I do want people to do well and I don't want people to
Right,
be on
right,
drugs.
right,
But, my point in saying that is, sometimes the biggest struggles create some of the best art.
right.
Um, but we also don't have to have struggle art all the time, too.
We don't.
We don't have to have that. So I kind of was saying that just to jest and tongue
I
in
got
cheek.
you. Okay.
But I do think that it forces people to go inside
Hmm.
a lot. When kind of the pressure, when external pressures kind of coming in on you, people tend to go inward. And when people go inward, interesting stuff comes out,
Hmm.
and people who are artistic, it could come out in music. It can come out in, kind of art like painting or
Hmm.
drawing or sculpture, or if you're a mathematic mind, it could come out in you creating some technology or
Hmm.
coding or exquisitely coding something,
Yeah.
depending on who it is, so
So
I,
we've been inside since mid-March, right?
mm-hmm.
So we should have some, jam and bang up art coming forth, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes, for sure. What's interesting though is I got creative. I was kind of hoping to be creative in a musical way during this time, and it has absolutely been the opposite. Outside of the DJ mixing, it actually has been more physical building thing, like being very just tinkering and
Okay.
on things. I started off with like this Star Wars ship model that I just put together. Then, like I told you, I refurbished some turntables, which
Right.
was really it was a thing.
Hmm.
I didn't realize what kind of thing it
Whole
was.
project.
Yes, it was a whole
Okay.
project. I basically had to gut it, take it apart, and kind of put new pieces back together again. But I ended up with a really beautiful set of turntables,
Hmm.
and then it got ridiculous. I was like, okay, well, let me reorganize my whole studio space, and then I did that,
Okay.
and then I built like other things to go along with it, and then I refurbished a lot. It was like this constant tinkering of things. But what I think the ultimately at the end is it's going to set up a space for me to be able to increase my workflow in music
Hmm.
in the near future. So I was a little bit frustrated at myself because I was like, dang, I really wanted to get this mixtape together. Or dang, I really wanted to get this together. It was like, nah, but you actually created a space to where you can do that. You know what I'm saying? And in a lot more efficient manner. So I had to kind of check myself and kind of chill out a little bit.
Right. Don't be
So,
on you.
but yeah, I'm excited. I'm a lot more video content is going to be coming up. You know, a lot more aerial footage because of the drone. You know, I want to get more into incorporating that into my content. I've been editing content for other businesses and brands, whether it's video or podcast editing work. So that's been a lot of fun to work on other people's projects.
Nice.
Out because you know, as much as I enjoy my content, I get sick of hearing myself for hours and hours and hours and hours on end. You know, I be getting on my own nerves sometimes. I'm like, girl, hush. Chai. Woo, Jesus.
Never that. So, you know, you're talking about, you know, some of the work you've been able to do around the podcast. Have you been able to generate income in terms of, you know, what you do, not necessarily what you're doing for other people, but what you do with TT Talk?
Yeah, a little bit for sure. I mean, definitely in some consulting, definitely in merchandise.
Okay.
And definitely in, you know, I kind of was doing some audiobook reading. You know, it kind of put me in different spaces where people needed things, you know. It got me to where, like, for instance, I attended the Afros and Audio Podcast Festival in Brooklyn last year. And I met so many amazing people there, and a lot of the people there that I met, we've been able to continue to do other content together, you know, which increases your visibility. And then when your visibility increases, then so, you know, it's a slow trickle, but, you know, slow money is better than no money. That's what I tell people.
Yes, I love it. Yes, it is. Show you right.
So I'm enjoying that. I'm hoping that, you know, it can continue to increase and, you know, so I can expand out a little bit more. I have a lot of really amazing projects. I also have a Patreon. And I have you know, I don't have many, but I have a few patrons who faithfully every month, you know, put a little bit of money in my pocket to be able to cover some operational things, you know, with TT Talks. And so I'm greatly appreciative for my patrons. Yeah, it's a slow mash, it's a slow grind, but I love it.
Awesome. So, what other projects do you have going on currently?
I just finished producing Orisha Focal Meditation with Iya Funlayo, a good friend of mine. Her name's Iya Funlayo. She's essentially an African traditional priestess and theologian. She graduated from Harvard University, and she put together a series of guided meditations during one of her fellowships, and had great success with it. And she said, you know, I actually want to make a formal project based off of this method that I kind of formed during my fellowship. And she said, you know, I know you produce. She asked me to produce the sounds and to produce her vocal, you know, recordings. And I worked together with a good friend of mine who's an engineer to create this project. And it's exciting. If you go to my IG, my link tree will take you right to it. You'll see when you hit the link tree, it'll go Risha Focal Meditation. If you go on my YouTube page, TT Talks, I have a sample track on there for people if they want to just do a quick 10-minute guided meditation. It's really great. And then if you like the project, there's a link in the description there to take you to the entire project. Just finished that up. I just did a Brandy and Monica mix on SoundCloud, and that's also in the Linktree link on my Facebook page and on my Instagram page. I just finished that up.
And why did you do that, TT?
You know, I love Brandy and Monica. I love them.
But specifically because what happened?
What you mean?
What took place that inspired you to do the Brandy?
The verses.
Yes.
The verses. Yes, the verses was exciting. And I just wanted to just put the songs together because I saw so much back and forth about, nah, I'm Team Brandy, blah 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 blah, I'm Team Monica, whatever. And then it got to the point where it kind of got nasty. And I'm like, I'm cool with the banter, the playful banter, but when you start attacking people's character and just being ridiculous, and I said, you know what, as a fan of both Brandy and Monica, I grew up with these sisters. These sisters are essentially my age, maybe a year or two older.
Right.
And, they started their careers when they were 13, 14 years old, and I was a teenager at that time. So I grew up with them. And so I just wanted to put something together with, some of my favorite tracks from them, just to show love to the sisters.
Show some love.
And the next verse is coming up is Gladys Knight and Patti LaBelle. So I am actually working on a mix for that right now. I'm kind of going through my records and going through, my digital archives of all of their work and picking out some of my favorite tracks from them, and I'm going to put it together.
Okay.
So I'm excited about that.
So I'm gonna throw this out to the viewers. What type of mix would you all like to see TT do?
I love it.
Who are some of the artists that you'd like to hear on a TT mix? Let us know. Put it in the comments.
Put it in the comments. And I'm gonna grab my phone to make sure that I make a note of it.
Okay.
To make sure that I follow up on that.
So put it in the comments. Let her know. What would you like? What type of mix? What songs? What artists would you like to hear in a TT mix?
Yes.
Let
a sister know.
So what are you thinking about this whole versus piece that, who is it? Is it Swiss Beats and
Timbaland,
yes. What do you think about this? That this is emerged out of, the pandemic and the
I have a lot of thoughts about it. Overall, I think it's very great for the culture. And I think it's showing that, we really are the culture. We're the ones, we are the engine of this machine. We're the one that's really pushing it. I mean, Monica and Brandy broke the internet. We're talking about 1.8 million people on Apple TV, 1.2 million people on Instagram. We had millions of people streaming in all over the world. We had people coming in, sharing streams. I mean, it was so many people on. They broke all kinds of records on there, and they actually had more views than or more. They had more mentions on Twitter than the Video Music Awards.
Wow.
From the previous year. Just, it was just we had a lot more impact. It was over 200,000 in-stream likes. I mean, these are ridiculous numbers.
They are.
And we're seeing that, and I'm loving the nostalgia. My DJ name is DJ Nostalgic because I enjoy that sentimental space, those songs that kind of take you back to very good times in your life when you were coming up, or when you were coming of age, or when you were a young adult, or when you were in love with somebody, or, whatever. I love that. And so I think it's good for the culture in that way. The meme police, they're all over it.
They are.
I love how the comedians and the funny people are coming on and doing their, mocking different things. I mean, it's fun. It's good for the culture. But there's also some things that I kind of wish that they would switch up a little bit. There's some, it's if you say to start at 8:00, when I get on at 8:00, I need to see people walking up. I don't want to see people walking across the set and people trying to get the sound together. I'm like, yo, this is a production. When Sister Nicole said 9:45 to be on, at 9:45 I was sitting in front of my computer with the lights on and the camera on and the mic going.
Yep.
I wasn't in here trying to get my shirt on and all that. That's just kind of tacky to me.
Yeah.
And there's some kind of set design things that I think is kind of strange. I'm glad they kind of got the sound situation together, because the Teddy Riley Babyface thing was That was
I
hilarious.
think they got down so bad they knew they had to get the rest of these right.
They had to get it together.
Yeah.
Right, right, right. But I understand in a live stream when you have a technical difficulty, like that's happened to me before. You know, I was DJing a virtual party. I do those too. If you want me to DJ a virtual party for you, we can set up a room, and you can get your homegirls together, and you give me some songs that you want to hear, and get your drinks together, and I'll put my little cash app up. Y'all throw me a little tip or two, and I will spin.
All
You
right.
know, I did that a couple of times with a friend of mine. She's a professional organizer and mental health specialist, Dina Smith, up in Atlanta. And she was just like, "Hey, can you DJ a party?" She had a professional mixologist on. So in between my sets, he would show people how to make signature cocktails.
Oh, nice.
You know, he would do a little 10-minute break, and people would make cocktails with him, and then I'd get right back into the music. Like it was fun. And it was something to do during quarantine. People are putting up some fantastic. That's all Isaac Hayes versus Teddy P. Papa Pope put up the dramatics and the stylistics because he's old school. I love the dramatics and the stylistics.
Yeah.
I love them. I'd love to do that. Leela James, Lettucey, Jasmine Sullivan. Yes. Yeah, I can do all that. Yes. Because those are artists that I love for sure.
Nice. Well, you got some recommendations.
I love it. Thank y'all so much for your inputs.
Yes, I appreciate that. So I was going to ask you about the virtual DJing. I mean, we've seen uh D Nice.
D Nice. Yes.
I
One of
mean,
my favorites.
yeah, he's had like some really great
Mm-hmm.
response to doing a virtual DJ piece and some
Mm-hmm.
very notable people being on the stream,
Yes.
Michelle Obama,
Mm-hmm.
folks like this. So what's
Club Quarantine.
yes, club quarantine. So what's your thoughts about that?
Listen, when I tell you, as somebody who studies DJs, because I am a DJ,
Mhm.
and I love and adore DJs, this has been the time for the DJs. When I tell you all the DJs who have consistently just been rocking it, who I've been watching D Nice consistently. Here in town, DJ A to the L. I love jumping on, his mixes, whatever he got going on.
Right.
I was watching a Kid Capri set
Mm-hmm.
a couple days ago. Kid Capri is one of my all-time favorite DJs. Of course, D Nice, Club Quarantine, DJ Jazzy Jeff with his virtual house parties. My God. DJ Jazzy Jeff has been getting it. DJ Coco Chanel. Like, I've just been really enjoying watching DJs do their thing, and I've been kind of learning and taking notes myself, but just appreciating just that art. And I've just been, for a long time, hip hop really started with, the DJ.
Yes, it did.
It was the DJs.
Was
It was
the
the
DJ.
DJs. It was it was always about the
Yeah,
DJs.
yeah.
And then the MCs would get on just to keep, move the crowd, keep the crowd going, and then the B-boys would come. But
Right.
then it was the B-boys would come to where the DJs were, because it was the DJs that were playing the breaks.
Yeah.
They couldn't go to the discos. They didn't want the hooligans at the disco. They didn't want the hooligans at Studio 54.
Right.
It was all of the old school DJs who kind of started all of this thing. But after the MCs got really big, the DJs kind of got pushed to the background, and it became about the MCs.
Right.
So what I'm starting to see now is this kind of renaissance and this reemergence of the DJ.
Mm-hmm.
And turntablism. So
Yeah.
I'm really excited to see how just this DJ thing is going. That's why there's like this big rift going on with social media and all of the copyright things going on
Mm.
with the music.
Yeah.
You try to stream a set on Facebook and they're gonna shut it down. I did a live Erica Badu Jill Scott mix.
Mhm.
It was
Was
either
it
right before or right after their verses.
okay?
And I'm telling you, I was in a vibe. We were just having a good time. Boom, boom, boom. Facebook was just like, yeah, that's copyrighted. Whew, shut the whole live stream down. Just shut it down.
Yeah.
Same thing's been happening on IG.
Mhm.
D Nice probably is backed by companies that are able to pay,
Mhm.
for all of the publishing rights and everything. But now that we have the technology, there's a way that we can be able to stream the music and still make sure that the artists get their money
Right.
and get their recognition.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind paying a couple dollars a set just to make sure that the artist gets the proper payment that they need. I wouldn't mind that at all. Not
Mhm.
at all. Not
Yeah.
at all, because I know what it takes to make music.
Right. Right.
But I'm waiting to see how it's going to how social media and Facebook and YouTube as well is
Mhm.
going to evolve to allow DJs to do their thing.
What do you think about Twitch? Have you heard much about that platform?
I actually just set up a Twitch account
Okay.
so that I could start doing that. Same thing with Mixcloud as well.
Okay.
I'm really trying to utilize whatever kind of technology is available, in a legal way
Right.
to be able to do it.
Right. Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah. I've seen some DJs switch over to Twitch
Mm-hmm.
or used it in conjunction with Facebook and some other platforms. So
Yep.
I was just curious as to what your thoughts were.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Cool. 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 All right. Well, I think you answered all my questions. I
I
mean,
appreciate it.
is there anything you want to talk to me about, ma'am?
Yeah, talk to me about your upcoming projects and talk to me about, first of all, this sister done got on the Roku. We got to talk about how she done got on the Roku. She done got her whole channel. I can go on the TV
Yeah,
right now
right now.
on my Roku. I can download the GWN for Greater Works Network, correct? The
Network.
GWN. If you got a Roku channel, I need you to
Immediately.
immediately
Yes,
download the GWN
yes,
channel,
yes,
so that you can follow what's going on with this company with
yes,
Sister Nicole.
yes, yes.
So how did that even come about? I want to talk about that too.
So Gerald took my partner, my business partner, and I had actually been, you know, researching on this road because we weren't really all that crazy about paid programming on the
Mm-hmm.
local station and kind of
Mm-hmm.
being, you know, at the mercy of the station, even though it was paid
Right.
programming and we were paying for the programming, we could get bumped if they had a national
Mm-hmm.
something or another going on, or if they say, well, it started out you had to do a minimum of 8 shows, and then a few seasons later it was like, well, you got to do a minimum of 13 shows. So, they could govern kind of how we moved and whatnot. So, we probably about 2 years ago started really seriously trying to dive in and research some other means of broadcasting, and recognizing that folks were definitely moving away from your traditional television from the
Mm-hmm.
standpoint of you know having a show and advertising on there, but a lot of video on demand or VOD, and live streaming. So we connected with this particular entity that has connections with Roku and actually some of the other platforms as well, your Apple TV, your Amazon,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
even Androids and that sort of thing. So we signed up and and we've been developing the network probably very intentionally since February of this year.
Okay.
And right before COVID hit, we had
Yeah.
gotten
Yeah.
started with the ideation and mapping and that sort of thing, and then
Mm-hmm.
transitioned into the whole branding piece, and then got to the website piece. So, as we were moving along, and also during that time, because we again signed up with this entity, we're working on just kind of developing the look for the network. So, it's a network like your CBS, your ABC, your NBC, in that we can have 24/7 broadcasting.
Mm-hmm.
And it's again live stream now. So if you again, go to Roku right now, put in Greater Works Network, you will see us on your TV. You do have to either have a Roku TV, a Roku stick, or a Roku player. And, we are just really seeking to tell our stories, tell the stories of Black and Brown folks here in America and hopefully across the diaspora. Roku has 40 million viewers, 40
Hmm.
million with the M.
Really?
Yes. So it's a really big deal. Right now we have a content creators contest that we're doing, and we're asking folks that have a project, whether that's a talk show, podcast, sitcom, you know, drama, documentary, short film, whatever it is, pitch it to us. Do a video, 60 seconds or less, and submit it. We want to know what your greater work is, what your idea is, and we're going to select two. The deadline is Monday, the 14th, and we're going to select two by Friday, the 18th. So we are super duper excited about
That
all of this.
this I love it.
Thank you.
That is so dope. It's one thing I really like about Tallahassee. You kind of have a community oriented, orientation, to things.
Yes.
Me and brother GT were talking about that the other day.
Hmm.
Just like there's enough room and space and there's enough work for everybody to be able to do well, and we're in the digital age now, so we're not really locked down by location,
True.
you
Very.
know. So we're at a time where I could be global in my home studio in Tallahassee, Florida.
Hmm.
You
Yep.
know,
All we need is some good internet.
hello, that's it.
That's it. Some good internet, and we can make the magic happen.
Yes.
So yeah, so that's kind of how all of that got started. So we are really seeking content that's already done now to put on the network like immediately.
Hmm.
So if you or even folks out there that are watching know someone who has content that is ready to go, by all means reach out, and we want to have that conversation and see how we can make that happen. But we also will try to help develop content creators that you know need assistance with maybe the branding of their show, or
Mm-hmm.
creating the content or writing the stories and that sort of thing. So yeah, we just want to again help tell our stories because we believe that your story matters. Your story
Yep.
matters. So yeah, that's
I
it.
love it.
Thank you.
I love it. I
Thank you.
love
Thank
it.
you.
I
Thank
love it.
you. Thank you. Yeah.
I love conversations with Nicole too.
Mhm.
Whenever I can, I try to tune in. And I'm so glad that you do your show later in the evening,
Mhm.
because I have kind of an unorthodox schedule, and it's kind of the only time where I really may have a moment to have a moment, have a CWN moment.
You know what? I'm torn now because I mean, literally, like right before we got on this live, somebody messaged me and was like, "Are you gonna do your show earlier?"
Yeah,
And I was like, maybe. I
yeah,
was like, well, would 9 o'clock work better? And I didn't check back to see what he had to say, but
yeah.
I'm torn because
Mm.
folks that are on here at 10 o'clock, they want to be on here at 10 o'clock,
Mm-hmm.
and I do have a pretty good following. So I say
Yeah,
pretty good. I mean, in terms of like folks that consistently tune in.
tune in. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
And then I have others that they don't catch it at 10 and they catch the replay and they're like, oh, I saw the show in the replay, I loved it, so on and so forth. So
yeah,
I
yeah,
don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna keep the
yeah.
10 o'clock.
Maybe you can do a poll. Maybe do a poll and
That's a good idea. I'm gonna do that.
do a poll in one of your
I'm gonna do
groups and just kind of feel out
that. I'm gonna do
and see. Maybe see like what about 8, 9, 10? What
that.
y'all think?
Yes, yes, yes,
Hey,
yes,
Kaletu, how are you, dear?
yes, yes, yes. So cool. So yeah, but I am. We're getting ready for season 9. Season 9 of Conversation
Ooh,
with Nicole, and I think most of it is going to be virtual. I'm hoping to, get some folks that are outside
say
of.
that one more again. What season you on?
Nah.
Hello.
Nah.
That is, I love it.
Nah.
That's consistency right there,
It
people.
is consistency.
Consistency.
Listen,
I'm
yeah.
proud of you.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. It is truly a labor of love. I
Yes.
mean, even outside of the recorded shows that we do, I've been doing these live broadcasts since last March. Last March. So last March I went live every day. Took
Yeah.
the challenge. And then I was like, okay, can't do that no more.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot. But for the people who are out there that are listening, I don't think y'all understand the amount of energy and work that goes into producing content consistently over time.
Mhm.
So if you see Sister Nicole on and she's live, if you can't get to it, make sure you come back, circle around. If you see it,
Yes.
share it.
Yes.
If she has something going on, any type of fundraising, any type of cash app,
Mhm.
independent black media basically exists because we will it to exist.
True that. True that.
We are willing this to exist, and so that we can have an alternative to what is kind of the status quo as far as media and entertainment and things like that. So I know when it comes on, it looks like it's easy, but it's not.
Mhm.
It's not easy at all. So if you have a friend that's a content creator, if they have a podcast, if they have some media channel, if they have a blog, vlog, whatever they have,
Yeah.
so even the littlest of comments and shares means everything.
Yep.
You
Support them.
know.
Support them. You might not be able to support them financially, but
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
supporting them with, like you said, the likes, the shares, the comments, it does
Mm-hmm.
mean a lot.
Yep.
One of the things that I used to get all the time when we were on the local television station is, oh, they paying you? And are they paying me to be on the station? I'm like, no, I'm paying them to be on the station.
Hello.
Right. So,
Hello. People
and
don't understand.
yeah, so as you said, because we will it too, we are intentional about it.
Mm-hmm.
And, a lot of times those coins are coming out of our pockets, especially when we first get started. So, that consistency is huge, and
Mm.
it takes a lot of commitment and, you know, a lot of intentionality.
Yes.
Mm.
Yes, yes, yes. Support, support, support.
Yeah. Yes, yes, yes. I appreciate you saying that though.
I
Good job.
had to. I had to rep for us. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, this has been absolutely fantastic. I love the
I
free
had a
flow.
ball.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, anything you want to say in closing? Tell the people how they can, connect with you. I know you mentioned your
Yeah.
IG, your YouTube, your
Yeah.
SoundCloud, but tell them again. Let them know.
Yeah. I listen, I've made it to where I'm extremely accessible online. You
Okay.
know, I have a TT Talks Facebook group. You
Mhm.
can at TT Talks on Instagram. You can hold on, I gotta get real ridiculous.
Ah, look at you.
You can go on tttalks.com.
I love
A
it.
lot of my podcast is on, I host my podcast on my own site as well as Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, on iHeartRadio, on SoundCloud, Google Play Music. I want to make sure I got them all.
Excellent.
Basically, anywhere that you want to stream podcasts, I'm probably on there.
Okay.
Okay.
Mhm.
That's MSTT Talks on Twitter. And if you just go on my Facebook page or my IG page and click the link, it can take you to everything. It'll take you to my YouTube channel, my Instagram, my Twitter, all of my social media sites, and my other projects that I have going on. It's just very easy to get there from my link tree.
Okay.
But yeah, my inbox is open. I love connecting with people. Please reach out. As long as you're not a weirdo and you're not asking weird stuff, I
Absolutely.
am more than open to, chat about something, or if you have a suggestion for a show, or if there's a mix that you want to hear, or if I said something that you didn't like, I'm open to that too. I'm not above being held accountable and corrected, and I have been before, for sure.
I
For
love it.
sure.
All right.
So yeah, feel free to hit me up. I love people. I have just a genuine love of people. I like personalities. I like engaging with people in meaningful and genuine ways. And yeah,
Okay.
just like I said, at my core, I'm just a cool chick.
Cool chick. Auntie TT. Love it.
That's right.
Love it. Love it. So I got to give a shout out to my cousin Susan,
Oh yes,
who is watching from the VA.
I
Thank you
love it.
so much. Yes, yes, yes. So, TT, we're going to keep up with what you have going on. I know your talks are normally the third Tuesday of the month.
Mm-hmm.
So, definitely we'll be listening out for what's next. And thank you. Thank you. Thank
Thank
you.
you. I appreciate it so much. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Y'all
Enjoy.
have an awesome night.
Yes.
Get some rest, y'all. Get some rest. Y'all tired.
I know. We'll see y'all next time.
All right.